Welcome to Trial of the Hollywood Sex Therapist Killer, the harrowing and tragic story of Dr. Amie Harwick, who met a tragic end when she was allegedly thrown off her third-floor balcony by her stalker and ex-boyfriend, Gareth Pursehouse. Found clinging to life, but later succumbing to her injuries, Amie's death has raised many questions, with answers to be revealed in court. Join us as we dive deep into the ongoing trial of Gareth Pursehouse, the man accused of this heinous act, and as we seek justice for Amie.
Can you see well now?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Did that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Okay. So, Officer Amie walks over and gently touches her with his left hand, right?
Yes.
And as you were saying, you know, there's concern that moving somebody too much might injure them.
Correct.
And so he didn't move her very much, or at all. He just kind of gently nudges her on her back, right?
Correct.
And his left hand is ungloved.
Correct.
So, just so it's very clear, he doesn't roll her over.
Right, he's already stated all of that, Counsel.
Okay. Now, I have what I'd like to mark as defense PP 1 through 12, and these are body-worn snaps, like snapshots of body-worn video.
All right.
May I approach?
Yes. Are you going to publish them first, or what? You know?
I'm going to lay foundation first.
Okay.
And then publish. Can you please look at these 12?
May I approach on it?
Yes, of course.
Once he gets here, you can look at them just so that you can see them. This is time.
What?
Oh, you approach?
Yes, I haven't seen these.
These are just video snapshots.
So you're asking if he recognizes them?
Exactly. Can you please review these and look up when you've reviewed them, please? Now, you saw Miss Harwick in the patio when you came around the corner that night,
Did
right?
he answer you recognized him? If he did, I didn't answer. I didn't hear it.
I have an estimate.
Okay, go ahead.
You saw Miss Harwick when you came around the corner to the patio that night, right?
Yes.
And are these defense PP 1 through 12, are these accurate depictions of the way she appeared when you first saw her?
Yes.
So I'd like to publish defense PP 11. So her right arm is beneath her torso. Is that correct?
Yes.
And her left arm is like in an L shape with her hand going above her head.
Correct.
Her, she's face down, right?
Yes.
And her head is turned so that her chin is approximately 6 to 10 inches away from her right shoulder.
Yes.
Publishing defense PP8. This is a different angle. So it appears that she has a necklace, right?
Yes.
And there's blood that is beneath her head, right?
Yes.
And the timestamp on this screenshot is 1:33 and 43 seconds, right?
Yes.
And you first came around the corner into the patio at 1:30, approximately 3 minutes before that.
Yes.
Publishing defense PP6. Now, this is, first of all, the light and the reflection is awful. There. Oh, there we go. It's a little better. So this is a very dark photograph, and it's kind of hard to make out exactly what's going on. But this is another angle of Miss Harwick on the patio, right?
Yes.
And again, this is how she appeared to you when you first encountered her.
Yes.
Publishing defense PP5. Let's see if I can get the glare to not be so bad. Now, this is Officer Edney's ungloved right hand holding something, right?
Yes.
Publishing defense PP4. This is just a different angle of her on the patio as you encountered it, correct?
Yes.
And this is from right, under a minute after you round the bend. This is at 1:30 and 52 seconds, right?
Yes.
Publishing defense PP3. This is from 1:30 and 38 seconds, and this is how she appeared as you approached her right after coming around the corner of the house, right?
Yes.
And that's Michael Herman in front of you, right?
Yes, it is.
Publishing defense PP1. This is just a screenshot from 8 seconds earlier, another angle of how she appeared to you as you first approached.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Did we get a response?
Yes,
Okay.
the response was yes.
Thank you.
So all of the screenshots I showed you, actually you've already asked or answered that question. So once you see Ms. Harwick on the patio and talk to Mr. Herman, you decided you needed to clear the house.
Yes.
And the goal of clearing the house is to make sure that there's no one inside.
Correct.
Your top priority at that time, within minutes of arriving, is to make sure that it's safe there.
Yes.
You want to make sure there's no threat to responding officers.
Correct.
You want to make sure that there's no threat to the paramedics who were about to be on their way.
Yes.
Redundant.
Redundant?
Well, repetitive and asked and answered.
Well, I think he's naming different personnel and different reasons, so I'll go ahead and give him some leeway a little bit. Go ahead.
So just the point is that when you're going to go clear the house, the goal for you is safety.
Yes, it is.
However, from the very beginning, you felt like there was something off with the situation, right?
Yes.
You saw the blood on Mr. Herman's shirt,
Yes.
and you felt that there was something potentially going on, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about clearing the house. And I'm not going to go through the whole video again. I'm just going to highlight a couple moments. So first, Officer Edney goes into Mr. Herman's room, right?
Yes.
He finds his keys.
Yes.
Officer Edney then goes around the side of the house to open the gate for the other officers who are going to come.
I believe so, yes.
So the first place you clear is that ground floor that had Mr. Herman's bedroom.
Yes.
You had a flashlight in your hand.
Yes.
You first clear that ground floor and then you go back out to the patio, right?
Yes.
Then you do a call out into the house to see if anyone's there.
Yes.
And a call out is when you say, LAPD, come out with your hands up, and if there is somebody inside, give them a chance to surrender.
Correct.
So I'm now going to People's Exhibit, I believe it's 28. I'm going back to People's Exhibit 28. Okay, I'm at timestamp 8:50. Hitting pause at 8:53. So at about 1:33 in the morning, the other officers arrive, right?
Yes.
And you were standing outside of Mr. Herman's room, and you heard voices, but you couldn't sure if it was just the TV that was on or not, right?
Correct.
You make a plan with the other responding officers.
Yes.
The other officers who were assisting you clearing the house were Officer Sweeney,
Correct.
Podkowski,
yes.
Podkowski, Edney,
Yes.
Cornejo.
No, I'm not familiar with any.
So, in total, there were 4 officers who took part initially in clearing the house.
Yes.
Going to timestamp 9:44 and hitting play.
These 2 rooms are clear already. I hear voices, but I can't tell.
So you first enter the house around hitting pause at 9:51. You first enter the house around at 1:34 a.m. Sorry, you first go upstairs at 1:34 a.m. Right?
Yes.
And that's about 4 minutes after arriving at the patio.
Correct.
Now, the first thing you do is you clear the kitchen, right?
We cleared the downstairs first.
I'd like to go to timestamp 10:06.
You cover this.
And I'm hitting pause at 10:07. So your left hand there at this point in time does not have a glove on it, correct?
Correct.
Hitting play at 10:07.
You cover straight ahead. Got it? I'm going. Hey, be advised, there's a lot of dummies. All right, let's clear this. Hey, Cornell, come with us, dude. You guys hold that, okay? Or Podkowski, you hold that.
You mentioned another officer, Cordero?
Cordero, that's Officer Sweeney's first name.
That's Officer Sweeney's first name?
Yes.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take a 15-minute break, if you would, please. Back on the record in this matter, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to stop at 3 o'clock today. I'm struggling up here to keep from coughing, but I'll be here tomorrow and so forth. But in spite of the interruptions that have occurred in this case due to illnesses and so forth, we're still on track. As I stated, that the forecast is that the prosecution intends to rest sometime around Monday, okay, and we'll move forward from there. You may continue your examination, Counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
Okay, so your body worn is paused at 10:07, and your left hand is in the screen there. At this time, it does not have a glove, right?
Correct.
All right. I'd like to jump forward to 10:45 and hit play.
It loops around. It's going to go down to the staircase. It goes out back outside. Back down to that.
Hitting pause at 10:57. So that's you pushing the door open with your left hand to the kitchen, right?
Correct.
I'd like to jump forward to 12:26. Actually, 12:22. So this is you and the other officers about to clear the third floor, right?
Yes.
And is that, which officer is that who's in the lead there with his left foot on the step?
It's Officer Podkowski.
Alright, so that's Officer Podkowski, and you can see that he doesn't have gloves on, right?
Correct.
You guys going straight. Okay, grab it. Come on, you two. Gotcha.
Hitting pause at 12:34, and the officer that was immediately in front of you as you enter the bathroom, which officer was that?
Officer Sweeney.
And this is you pushing the door open, right?
Yes.
Hitting pause at 12:38. So this is pushing the door open with your left hand and pulling the shower curtain with your left hand back, right?
Yes.
I'd like to go to 13:15. Now, this is inside of the closet that's off of Miss Harwick's bedroom, right?
Yes.
Hitting play.
This place is fucking weird. That's a super place.
Alright, hitting pause there at 13:21. So that was one of the officers touching the drawer in her closet with an ungloved hand.
Believe so, yes.
Now, you go out to the balcony. I'm going to jump. Actually, I'll just hit play here.
It's clear here. You see it?
Okay, hitting pause. So you go out to the balcony. This is the first time that you go out to the balcony at about 1:37 and 50 seconds, right?
Yes.
Going to 14:30. This is you going out to the balcony a second time, right?
Yes.
Hitting play.
See this is. Oh, dude. So. It's a code 4 for now, sir.
Okay, so at hitting pause at 14:50, you announced to Sergeant Deneen to code 4, sir, right?
Yes.
Code 4 means that it's clear.
Correct.
Once you announce, and so that would be at 1:39 and 11 seconds, right?
Yes.
And after you announce code 4,
you continue looking around the rooms of the house, right?
Yes.
Jumping forward to 1620, actually 1618. So this is you going out to the balcony a third time, right?
Yes.
Now, once the house is clear, you go back downstairs to the patio, right?
Yes.
And then you realize that you should probably get Miss Harwick's ID, so you go back upstairs to look for her identification, right?
Yes.
And at that point, other officers had opened the front door, right?
Yes.
So going to 23, timestamp 2340. Hitting play at 23:38. Okay, so hitting pause at 23:47. This is you looking for her identification, right?
Yes.
Hitting play. All right, hitting pause at 24:02. So you're looking for her identification with an ungloved hand at that time, right?
Yes.
Going to timestamp 30:10. $30:06.
Never say that. He said he was going to door knock some of these. Okay. Yeah, just in case. We need another unit to put it out here. So we're going to go upstairs and check around a little bit.
Hitting pause. So at timestamp 30:21 and the hour of 1:54 a.m., you and Officer Edney go back upstairs to look around some more.
Yes.
Going to 31:02.
Yeah. I can tell you, it's sticky. Beads. This is urine.
Hitting pause at 31:06. Now, did you hear the sound of something like hard hitting the floor?
You mean from this video?
Yes.
No, I didn't.
I'll go back. So going to 30:58.
This is urine. Yeah. I can tell you, it's sticky. Beads. This is urine.
All right. So did you hear that time?
I did, yes.
Vegas to hitting the floor. Vegas to hitting the floor foundation.
I can rephrase.
All right. So,
Did you hear a sound in the background of that video?
Yes.
Okay. Was that the sound of one of those beads hitting another surface?
Possibly.
And
Foundation.
well, he said possibly. He didn't conclusively state that it was.
now
You did hear the sound.
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, it'll stand.
And you saw what you previously described as beads, I believe, right?
Yes, sir.
And based on what you saw the beads to be made out of, they could have made that sound if you or Officer Edney had like kicked that into the molding or something like that.
Calling for speculation.
Sustain. Rephrase your question.
I think I don't need to.
Okay.
Now, in that exchange that we just listened to between you and Officer Edney, you said that the substance you saw on the ground was urine, right?
Yes.
And Officer Edney isn't sure, right?
He doesn't appear to be sure.
Going to 31:20.
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Actually, I'd like to just go back a little to 3109.
Shower, what? Yeah. Pretty sure.
Hitting pause at 3130. So that is Officer Eddie moving something on the ground. It looks like a jacket.
Yes.
He first moves it with his foot, right?
Yes.
And then he picks it up with his left hand and kind of examines it and then puts it down in a way that it was not before.
Yes.
Going to timestamp 37. Hitting pause at 3702. Or sorry, hitting play at 3702.
Stay there. You'll be able to get a higher.
Oh, sorry, I had a mistake on that time. Going to minute 32. Hitting play at 32.
Oh, hold on. So you're saying? I flipped it over already.
So you see the phone on her bed, right?
Yes.
And you put a glove on, right?
Yes.
And your partner, Officer Edney, tells you he'd already touched it and flipped it over, right?
Yes.
You look at the phone and you see that there are notifications from Google Nest, right?
Correct.
Now, a push notification is a type of notification that goes onto the screen of a locked phone where you can see kind of like a snippet of the message, right?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, Google Nest is a home security system.
Yes.
So an app can send you those push notifications even if your phone is in a locked setting, right?
Check your
Yes.
foundation.
Are you surmising that, sir? Are you speculating? Is that do you know for a fact?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay, then I will sustain the objection. To the best of your knowledge, but you can't say conclusively for sure.
Correct, sir.
All right.
Do you have a cell phone?
I do.
Do you get push notifications from apps?
Relevance.
Well, he's trying to lay a foundation, I take it.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Well, let's strike the word perhaps. Go ahead.
I mean, yes.
This is a basic. Are you familiar with what a push notification is?
Yes.
Okay.
So, now, push notifications will appear in a scrolling fashion. So if many are coming in, you only see the most recent ones.
My objection was referring to Nest app, not all apps. Just the focus is on the Nest app.
Okay.
Well, this is just how push notifications work on the phone.
Okay. I'll allow it. Go ahead.
Do you know? Can you answer?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Push notifications will appear in a scrolling fashion. So if there are multiple over time, you'll only see the most recent ones.
Most of the time, yes.
Most of the time. Are there other occasions where does that does not happen?
Under customization, I would imagine you could change the status of how the push notifications appear.
I don't know any of that, so I don't know. All right.
I'll move on.
All right.
Going to timestamp 3242. Hitting play. So, hitting pause at 3247. This is you going out to the balcony a fourth time.
Yes.
Hitting play.
Yeah, it's heroin. It looked weird at first. That's fully loaded. Like another black beads. These beads are from that was inside. From the OD.
Hitting pause at 3311. This is Officer Edney grabbing the railing with an ungloved right hand. Right?
Yes.
Going to timestamp 3410. 3407 actually.
Probably. You could call that this. Yeah. Yeah, it just felt weird, you know?
Like I said, I have a question. If you want to
Hitting pause at 3434. So that's Officer Edney looking through her purse with one gloved hand and one ungloved hand. All right?
Yes.
Going to 3828. 3827 to be exact.
Do we clear all this?
Yeah, we do.
Hitting pause at 3835. That's Officer Edney opening up a cabinet door with an ungloved right hand, right?
Yes.
Going to 3905. 3901 actually.
Okay. Are you kidding me with this stupid thing? Hey, what's
Hitting pause at 3912. That's Officer Edney saying, I just kicked a bead. Right?
Yes.
Going to minute 43.
if you want, go check it out upstairs.
Actually, it's a little too far forward. 4250. So that's looking at the still image at 4250. That's Officer Robles, right?
Yes.
So at about that would be roughly speaking, around 2 a.m. Officer Garcia and Robles arrive, right?
Correct.
Hitting play at 4250.
I don't know if she's gonna get in there or whatnot. There should be something. Yeah. He's just if you want, go check it out upstairs.
Hitting pause at 4305. And so after they arrived, Officer Garcia and Robles went upstairs to check out the house, right?
I don't recall if they did or not.
Now, Officer Sweeney was supposed to accompany the paramedics in the ambulance to Cedars-Sinai, right?
Either him or his partner were supposed to.
But both of them forgot, right?
I don't believe so. I believe Officer Podkowski did go with the ambulance.
All right, going to timestamp 50.
And hey, I've already stepped on like 3 times by accident. There's
Hitting pause at 5007. This is you and Officer Edney discussing that you've already stepped on beads like 3 times already.
Yes.
So, prior to detectives from the Homicide Bureau arriving, you and Officer Edney walked around the house multiple times, right?
Yes.
Same for Officer Sweeney and Podkowski.
Yes.
Same for Officers Garcia and Robles, right?
I don't recall if they walked through the whole house.
Same for Officers Rendon and Grossman.
Biggest the same at
Did they walk through the house? You're talking about a walkthrough?
Yes.
I don't recall if they walked through the house.
Officer Delavan?
Yes.
He or she, actually, I don't know.
He walked through the house, yes.
and Sergeant Deneen also walked through the house, right?
I don't recall if Sergeant Deneen walked through the house.
And these, going through the house and searching the house, this all occurred after the Code 4 had been announced, right?
Yes.
Now, from the very moment you arrived, you thought the situation was kind of off, right?
Yes.
You didn't believe Mr. Herman's story?
I believed his story.
Didn't you think he was a suspect?
I wasn't aware of who was a suspect or who was a victim.
Well, at minimum, you thought there possibly could be foul play, right?
Correct.
So now, when there is a potential crime scene, it's important to hold that crime scene, right?
Yes.
And that means that the officer holds the scene to make sure that no one enters or exits.
Yes.
If people do enter or exit a crime scene, they can accidentally taint evidence.
Possibly.
Part of holding a crime scene can be creating a crime scene log, right?
Yes.
And that's a document that lists who entered the crime scene and when they entered, right?
Yes.
And there's an LAPD form for a crime scene log. And that form includes options to delineate whether it's an exterior or interior crime scene log, right?
Yes.
Now, in this case, Officer Grossman was the officer who originated the crime scene log, right?
I don't recall.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at the crime scene log?
Yes.
So, if you could look at page 1, right there, and that's for that, and then page 2, exterior.
Got it.
Garcia.
Got it.
So, did that refresh your recollection, sir?
It did.
So for the interior crime scene log, Officer Grossman originated it.
Yes.
And for the exterior crime scene log, Officer Garcia originated it.
Yes.
And when I showed you these crime scene logs, did you know what they were?
Yes.
I'd like to mark them as defense.
Double Q.
QQ. And I'll just, for the sake of efficiency, I'll just make all of the pages one exhibit.
All right.
And so this is a four-page exhibit showing to the people.
Okay. Just to get a sense.
I'm not going to admit it, but I'm going to ask you questions.
Are you going to mark it? Or you
No,
want you're
I'm
trying?
not gonna mark
I think it
Okay.
should be marked at this point.
Well, why don't you just mark it? It's up to you if you admit it at the end. You seek to admit it. We haven't reached that point yet.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Just out of time-wise, how much longer do you have with this witness?
not very long.
Okay. Just
Well, it's definitely be done by lunch.
all right.
So this is QQ, right?
Yes. Double Q.
So you did recognize this crime scene log, right?
Yes.
And let's talk about the interior crime scene log. So the earliest time that is marked for any employee of law enforcement arriving is 5 in the morning, right?
Believe so.
All right. All of the officers that we were just discussing, including yourself, do not appear on this interior crime scene log prior to 5 a.m., right?
I don't have one in front of me.
Would it help to look at it?
Yes.
Look up when you're done, please.
Just for the interior, correct?
Correct.
That's correct, yes, sir.
So prior to 5 a.m., all of the foot traffic in and out of the house, which did also include staff from the fire department, none of that is reflected in the interior crime scene log. Is that true?
Just a compound.
Oh.
One vague.
I don't know. Is it yes to everything?
I'm sorry, sir?
Is it yes to to the questions that you posed?
Neither of those, the officers nor the fire department was listed on the...
All right.
After you cleared the house, well, actually, multiple times throughout the night, you and your partner spoke with Michael Herman, right?
Yes.
And you asked him what happened.
Yes.
You asked him what happened in multiple different moments, including when you first arrived, right?
Yes.
After the paramedics arrived?
Yes.
So in other words, you took multiple statements from him throughout the night, right?
Yes.
And he never told you he heard sounds of choking, right?
Not to my recollection.
He never told you that he heard profuse coughing, right?
Not to my recollection.
He would have included both of those in your report had he told you that.
Yes.
He also said that Ms. Harwick was yelling the entire time through the moment that he left the house to go out to the street, right?
He told me she was screaming.
You do not have any formal medical training or background other than what you receive as part of the academy and part of being a police officer, right?
Correct.
In your report for this case, isn't it true that when describing what your partner did, Officer Edney, when he first went up to Ms. Harwick, you wrote that he touched her with a gloved hand, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And upon reviewing your body-worn video, isn't it true that his hand was ungloved when you touched her?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Anything?
Yes. Is the body-worn video, is that the best evidence of your interaction with Michael Herman?
Yes.
Okay, so whatever discussion you had with Michael Herman, it's on the body-worn video.
Correct.
The questions you posed to him, he answered.
Yes.
Questions that you didn't pose to him, he didn't answer.
Correct.
And now, you get the call, according to People's Exhibit number 16, the 911 log. Do you get it sometime around 1:14 in the morning?
Yes, sir.
And then, according to the body-worn video, you arrived at about 1:30 in the morning.
Correct.
Can I have those pictures of the video stuff?
Yes, sir.
So, while we're getting that, did anything significant happen by the time between the time you left the police station to the time that you got to the location where this crime scene?
Yes, I believe so.
What happened?
Amie Harwick was attacked.
Well, no, I'm asking you about things you know. Like on your drive to 2086, did anything happen? The video that we were just shown, the 5 minutes of you driving over there, did anything significant happen in that part?
We got lost.
Okay. Other than that, anything else?
No.
Let me just show one. This is defense video still. PP double
P, what?
double P11.
All right.
All right. You see the timestamp on that video still of 9:42? I mean, that would be 1:42 in the morning, correct?
Yes.
But you see her body for the first time around 1:30 a.m.
Yes.
Okay, so you get the call at 1:14 a.m. and you see her body for the first time at 1:30 a.m.
Yes, sir.
It's like a 14-15 minute gap.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what the position of her body was before you saw her?
No.
Now, counsel showed you a a clip from Officer Edney's body-worn video. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Where he appears to touch her. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you remember what part of her body he touched?
Her middle back?
Okay. Was there any blood on her middle back?
No.
How long did he touch her for?
Less than a second.
So for less than a second, he touches her on a part where you didn't see any blood.
Correct.
Did he say, "I got blood in my fingers"?
No.
Did you see any blood on his fingers?
No.
So the video clip counsel showed you, he only touched her for about 1 second.
Correct.
And he touched her on a part, which part again of the body?
Her lower to middle back.
Was there a dress at on that part?
Yes.
And did you see any blood on that dress?
No.
Now, are you when you get to a crime scene like this, are you supposed to clear the house first, or are you supposed to hold it to make sure you start a log and start checking people in who arrive at the crime scene?
Clear the house first, sir.
Why is that?
To deem it safe for everyone involved.
And was that your priority on this occasion?
It was.
Are you required to wear gloves when you're clearing a house?
No.
Why not?
Because of the exigency of suspects or other victims inside the house.
Okay. Would it be good practice to wear gloves?
Yes.
Okay. Well, why didn't you wear gloves on this occasion?
Again, just because of the exigency, and we wanted to deem it safe for the ambulance that was on their way, as well as officers that were en route to the location as well.
So when you arrived at the crime scene, did you know that the suspect, whoever may have been involved with this, do you know whether he was still in the house or not?
No.
Now, all these officers, like Officer Edney, he had his own body-worn camera.
He did.
And Sergeant Deneen had body-worn video.
Yes.
And the other officers had body-worn video.
Yes.
So if you have access to this body-worn video, you could see what they're touching and where they're going.
Correct.
Now, counsel showed you a internal log, the log for people coming into the house. Did you write that log?
No.
Do you know why the person that wrote that log wrote it the way he did, saying that people were coming in at 5 a.m.?
No.
Is the log started after detectives get involved? To your knowledge?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
And you and your partner, Officer Edney, were the first to arrive at this crime scene.
Correct.
And then counsel showed you a part of the video where you approached the kitchen. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And he asked you opened the kitchen door. Do you remember him asking you that?
Yes.
And just to be clear, was the kitchen door already open when you got to the kitchen?
It was already open.
So you just pushed it further open.
Correct.
And did you know the Nest app settings for this particular phone that was on the bed?
No.
Do you know what it was recording?
No.
Do you know what kind of subscription the person had on Nest?
No.
Yeah, one more. And when you first, and I'm not sure if I already asked you this, but when you first came into the house, you jumped over that iron gate, landed in that front patio. Did you see the damage to those French doors that lead into the living room?
No, I did not.
I have nothing further.
Incredibly briefly. Showing you defense PP1. The timestamp from that is 1:30 and 36 seconds, right?
Correct.
PP3, that's just 2 seconds later.
Yes.
PP4, 1:30 and 52 seconds, right?
Yes.
So this position is how you encountered her in the patio, right?
Yes.
And so when you testified on direct, you testified the other day that her head was tilted to the left, her head was kind of tucked under her left shoulder. So that was a mistake, that you misremembered where the direction her head was facing, right? Her head was facing to the right over her right shoulder, right?
That's correct.
And it wasn't, and her chin was slightly up, it wasn't tucked into the left shoulder.
Correct.
Nothing further.
Anything based on those questions?
Just why do you keep going into the house after the initial time that you went into the house?
Objection outside the scope.
Allow the answer.
We continue to enter the house to look for further evidence of either what we initially believed to be an overdose or what we also believe to be possible suicide, or lastly, any other evidence of a possible further crime or of a murder.
Are you still trying to figure things out as you're there?
Yes, sir.
And are you still going in there to try to figure things out?
Yes, sir.
I have nothing further.
All right, you may step down.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and break for lunch. If you would, have a good lunch. We'll see you at 1:30. Remember, it's till 3 o'clock today. Thank you.
More of the trial of the Hollywood sex therapist killer is on the way. Press subscribe now so you don't miss a moment of this riveting courtroom drama as we seek justice for Dr. Amie Harwick.